Lie to tell me, lie to tell me. It's just about telling us trying my patience, and every word you say to me is just another erase, and I'm tired of those lies you tell me, lies you tell me.
All right, good evening, everybody. It is Steve with Real Progressives, and it is way later than the evening. It's freaking early morning here now. Out here in the east, it is almost 1 a.m., and we're talking about the Milquestoast Centrists, those people out there who are the real stick in the mud, the real cause of a lack of progress. Folks, as long as the Republican Party has been around, the Republican Party has been more than happy to be what the Republican Party is. Even when they've gotten more batshit crazy, they are who we thought they were. They are what they stand for. They are going to be the same as they have always been. But the Democratic Party has got an overload of centrists. Look at some of these buffoons who went out there to a rah-rah session of Democrats out there at the Chatham thing that happened this past weekend. And you got this idiot coming out there talking about how bad Medicare for All is. Dude got straight up booed, thank God. But I want to tell you, this is a bigger deal than just some dipshit that gets booed at a California Democratic Convention. In our midst, there are many people that are absolutely unwilling to fight for any of the things they claim to want. And this is where the centrist, the milquetoast centrist, finds their home. If we were doing like a National Geographic and we had like the camera guys in the wild and we were chasing around the milquetoast centrist, we would find them somewhere between preemptive surrender and scolding someone else for being a purist. Ultimately, when you say, hey, I want health care, I want to make sure that we don't go to war, I want to make sure that we get rid of those student debts so we have a vibrant economy for our children, I want to make sure we have a job guarantee to make sure the regular people aren't the ones that are turned into Soylent Green when the machine breaks down next time like it did in the great financial crash back in 2007, 8, 9, and to the present. But if you sit there and you listen to these folks, they don't care. They literally don't care. And it took a long time for me to realize that they truly do not care. I was talking to one gentleman the other day who's a big Democratic rah-rah person. He's always out there smoothing the way for the next neoliberal, claims to support Bernie, but ultimately very, very open with his willingness to support everyone from Kamala Harris all the way over to even Biden. And the idea, of course, is what do you want, Trump? But right here, right now, you hear Democrats constantly say, fight like mad during the primary and then just vote blue in the general. And my thoughts are this. If they're just going to vote blue, no matter who, in the general, why in the world don't they just do us all a solid and sit out the primary? Why don't they just sit out the primary? Stop talking about their repulsive centrist candidates like they're okay. And just let progressives choose a proper candidate because they'll still be blue. And they can vote blue no matter who after progressives have chosen the correct candidate. But no, these parasites have gotten things like Stop Bernie. They're out there promoting every Tom, Dick, and Harry. We got people running around talking about Cory Booker. We got people running around talking about even Amy Klobuchar. We got people out there saying that Biden was a great guy. I ask each one of them when I have the opportunity, what specific policies are they advancing that make them such a compelling candidate? I don't need to tell you, but I will. The answer is, well, it's not about policy. It's really about, do they have a chance to be elected? Are they electable? And they say it doesn't matter who is in there. Ultimately, I'm just voting blue because whatever it takes to get rid of that Cheeto leanie or that orange-haired guy or the guy with the comb over or Donald Trump or whatever. Now, this should be a no-brainer. But I want to walk through a couple of the reasons why the vote blue no matter who strategy, especially now in the primaries, people talking about it, is such a worthless endeavor, such a freaking distraction, and such a losing strategy. First things first, all the different policies that we want, these people look at polls. They look at how sincere people are and how adamant they are about making those policies come to be. And with so many of these vote blue sycophants out there doing a preemptive capitulation, starting from zero and saying, hey, I'll vote blue no matter who. How much pressure do you think that puts on any of these candidates to adopt a truly progressive stance? Would you say 0%? 5%? I'm putting it down below 0%. I think you're encouraging them to say screw progressives. But interestingly enough, you look around and you see Bernie Sanders' plans, these progressive plans, being picked up by everyone from Elizabeth Warren to Tulsi and others. Just the other day, Jay Inslee was set up on a pedestal by AOC, saying that his climate plan was the gold standard. I wouldn't use that term, but she used the gold standard term for Jay Inslee's climate plan. You've got non-stop folks that are caving in before they even have a chance to vote. Before we even have a chance to have the first debates, they're already telling us stop criticizing Democrats. Stop showing their record. Stop talking about Biden authoring the crime bill. Stop talking about Biden authoring the bill that made it so that we couldn't discharge student debt. Stop talking about Biden that way. Folks, Biden is a piece of shit. He's a bad, bad dude. A molesty, creepy dude. And his policies are shit. But in the vote blue, no matter who playbook, Joe Biden's a great choice for president. And they'll vote blue no matter who. No matter what he did to Anita Hill. No matter what he's done to African Americans through his crime bill. No matter how many times he called people predators. No matter how many times he did any of this shit. And folks, the list is long. There's never been a war Joe didn't like being in. And there's never been a Wall Street handout he didn't want to co-sign. Joe Biden is not your friend. But then again, neither are the vast majority of these Democratic candidates. Cory Booker is getting some help from Derek Hamilton with the baby bonds program. That's a good thing. But Cory Booker, you're a non-starter, dude. We saw you sitting there talking about, what if I give back the money to the healthcare industry? Will you then leave me alone, basically? Cory Booker is a sellout shill, too. I mean, folks, I look at Beto and I look at all these, oh my God, Julian Castro. Horrible. But it's not the candidates that really make this centrist shit so bad. It's the people who come around amongst the midst of the regular people, selling them on capitulation before they've even had a chance to fight. It's them running around trying to sell moderation and bullshit before there's even been a primary battle. They are the real progress killers. Republicans are always going to be Republicans. To expect otherwise is fool's game. But it's when those centrist pukes, those boll weevils, those weak-willed, limp, flaccid, spineless centrists start trying to moderate and try to plead for pragmatism. Let's talk about pragmatism for a minute. If I tell you that X number of people are going to die if we don't do a certain program, and I show you the numbers, and you say, well, yeah, that's true, but maybe we only kill half of them if we go moderate. That is the equivalent of what these people are advocating before there's even a primary battle. They're trying to dull the separation based on voting records, based on platforms, based on anything. They want to dull the differences and just get you to vote blue. That's terrifying. And when you see people doing that stuff, doesn't it make you think a little bit less of them? Maybe that they're not quite as good a person as maybe even a Republican is. Maybe a Republican is maybe a little bit higher on the food chain than that vote blue sycophant already dulling the tip of the spear before the primary battles even occurred. Folks, the centrist Democrats will give you little pilots, little teeny blurbs, little teeny moments of time where they say, this tiny little segment of people, you get this benefit. And then they will forever run around acting like they've done something incredibly good. And they'll make you hear about it for the next 4 to 6 to 8 years. And in reality, what they've done is they've carved it up in such a way that it hurt everyone because, after all, they solved health care, didn't they? They just put a mandate on it, jacked the rates up, and said it's affordable. Folks, anything less than Medicare for all, and that's not even good enough, quite frankly, but anything less than Medicare for all is a non-starter for me. Anything less than complete student loan eradication is a non-starter for me. Anything less than free college and free trade school is a non-starter for me. Anything less than expanding Social Security and providing the cost of living increases required to make those people lead healthy, whole lives is non-starter for me. Anything less than a federal job guarantee is a non-starter for me. Anything other than a Green New Deal that brings about the end of the fossil fuel industry with a just transition is a non-starter for me. It's not just because I want these things. It's because we need these things. And a centrist will try and tell you your dreams are too big. They'll try and slow you down. They'll try and stop you from thinking that we can do nice things because they know in the back of their mind that ultimately their party is going to hand select a shill, a Wall Street shill, a third-way neoliberal shill, and they're going to happily vote and campaign for that sack of shit. So they want to dull your expectations before the primary even happens. They want to quell a movement before it even rises. They want to ensure that you don't have a dream or a belief or some hope of a better tomorrow. They want to make sure that you right-size that dream so that they are able to vote blue no matter who. That's your centrist Democrat. That's why centrists are a bigger block to progress than the Republican Party will ever be. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Have a good night, everybody.